Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford for the paper talk, and it's a little bit windy. I should have brought me Parker. Lots of news to get through, so I'll crack on. Starting with a little story about Donny van der Beek. He's been backed by Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes speaking to the Manchester United website, and he says that, yes, he's working hard and working hard in the gym. Obviously, he's one of the quality players we know, and now he's building up. As a professional player, you always prepare for your season before you come back for training. You always do something before, and I think everyone was doing their jobs at home. So a little bit of a nod there to the way that Donny van der Beek has bulked up. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've seen the pictures, we've seen him in pre-season, and he definitely looks like he's put on a bit of muscle. He's looking quite hench. Some people arguing that maybe that's what he needed to help him in the Premier League. He did struggle a little bit in his first season. I mean, it's the sort of argument of, was it his fault? Did he not get enough time, game time? How do you look at it with Donny van der Beek? Some people say he didn't get a fair crack of the whip, others saying he didn't really take his chance when he was played. But certainly I think the physicality of the Premier League is something that he may have just been a little bit surprised by, but he's built up a little bit. Hopefully that can help him. We've seen it with players in the past where they've gone away in pre-season, got themselves a little bit bigger. Scott McTominay's done it, Marcus Rashford's done it, David De Gea's done it. A lot of players do it. And a little bit of muscle to your game sometimes can help. So we'll wait and see what happens with Donny van der Beek, but certainly Bruno Fernandes has given him his backing, which is good to see. Moving on to other news as well, Rafael Varane could be arriving here today in Manchester. He might even already be here by the time you're watching it. Fabrizio Romano commenting yesterday that Rafael Varane even is ready to fly to Manchester on Thursday, today, with his visa issue being resolved in the next few hours. So there was some sort of questions around his visa and whether it was going to take a little bit longer and whether he had to quarantine and all this other stuff, but it looks like that could be getting sorted today, which would be great news, obviously, to get his visa sorted, get him moving forward, hopefully getting ready for the start of the season. I mean, even if he can't play for the start of the season, at least be available. I don't know if Ollie's going to throw him in or he wants to give him a little bit of time to get used to sort of settling in Manchester and just being in and around the squad, whether he will go with the likes of Harry Maguire and maybe someone like Eric Bailly's been away, Annie, with the I think there's a bit of a confusion here, isn't there, because he's available. I know Victor Lindelof's coming back from an injury. Eric Bailly's obviously been away with the Olympics, so who knows, maybe Rafael, if he is available, will be thrown straight in. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Other updates to give you as well. James Garner looks like he's set for another loan move, and there's two Premier League clubs that are interested in him. Jonathan Schrager, who's always reliable for his Manchester United stuff. I'm going to get him on the channel soon. He said, in addition to Forest, Sheffield United, Stoke and Swansea, two Premier League clubs have registered an interest in signing James Garner on a season-long loan from Manchester United. Whilst Premier League football may seem preferable, a decision will largely be based on which club can offer a decent amount of game time. Garner obviously had he had two loan spells last season, didn't he? He went to Watford and it didn't really work out for him. I think they changed manager, and then he went to Nottingham Forest where he just shone. He just had a great time there. The Forest fans were comparing him to Sergio Busquets. That's how well he did, and how accurate that is, but I'll go with it. So it looks like he's going to get another loan move, which you can kind of understand because he's not likely to get a lot of games at Manchester United this season. He played a lot of football, especially towards the back end of last season, so you want him to keep that momentum. You don't want him to have a season where he plays just a handful of games coming off the back of a season where he played quite a lot. And if he does get a move to a Premier League club, if he does get the chance to show how ready he is for the Premier League and just get used to the Premier League, that could be a massive sort of boost in his chances of coming back next season and getting a chance at Manchester United, because he's a real talent, James Garner. I mean, it remains to be seen whether he's got what it takes to make it Manchester United, but certainly for the under-23s, I've seen him there. He was like the star of the show when I went down to Leeds Sports Village a couple of times. He was the one everyone was talking about. When I saw him, he scored as well. He played really well. But you have to wait and see, because players can shine at that level. They can shine in the Championship when they're a youngster and not quite have what it takes to make it a Manchester United Football Club. But at the moment, it does look like, you know, all the sort of stars are aligning for him in the sense that he could be a future Manchester United player. So we'll wait and see what happens with that one. Bit of a Paul Pogba update. It's getting a little bit confusing, isn't it, as to what's going to happen with Paul Pogba. We've been covering this, I was going to say all week, but I've been talking about Paul Pogba, and I think a lot of you guys will have been since 2011 and 2012 in terms of his future. It's almost seems, well, it has been a decade, really. You know, you look at when he was coming through the youth. We got him from Le Havre. He came through the youth. once we got him, they spent a couple of years in the academy, of course, then went to Juve. There was speculation about whether he's going to go to Juve, comes back for 89 million quid, and now for the last couple of years, maybe 2-3 years, we've had a lot of speculation. He's in the last year of his deal, so the speculation is going to increase. PSG are after him, but it looks like Manchester United aren't going to let him go on the cheap, if you can call the 45 million, 50 million pound price tag that he was labelled with as cheap. But we know he's got only 1 year left of his contract. He could go in the summer for free, so there was a sort of school of thought that maybe Manchester United would be willing to let him go for around 50 million quid. That might not be the case. There's reports coming out here that Manchester United want around 75 million to 100 million euros for him, and then there's a sort of an added caveat to this, or another story, following on from this, from Mike McGrath, another friend of the channel who's on the Tier 1 Transfer podcast a few weeks ago. He says Paul Pogba is set to start the season in United squad before making a decision on his future before the transfer windows across Europe close next month. So he's got a month to decide whether he does want to go to PSG, whether he wants to try and force a move, whether he's going to stay here for another season and go on a free. We know that Mino Raiola is his agent, and that brings with it its own dramas and speculation, and whether he's going to try and get a bit more money out of Paul Pogba and get him a move, or whether it suits Paul Pogba to stay and maybe go in the summer for nothing, or sign a new deal at Manchester United. There's a lot of us who'd love to see Manchester United sign Paul Pogba on a long-term deal. Whether that happens remains to be seen. He has made noises in the past that he wanted a new challenge. That was a couple of years ago. COVID and a lack of teams being able to meet Manchester United's offer or valuation of him sort of put a bit of a spanner in the works on that one. So we'll have to wait and see whether Paul Pogba goes. I personally would like to see him stay, but I only want to see him stay if he wants to stay. I don't want to see the club trying to force him here and try and keep him here for another season if he wants to move and then going for nothing. I think if he does want to go, get the money in for him and try and invest that money elsewhere, whether that is into a Sal Niguez or a Ruben Neves or maybe an Eduardo Camavinga, 3 midfielders we've been linked with. Other player that's been linked with a move away is Axel Tuanzebe. Says here he's set for Aston Villa loan exit. I think this was coming from the Athletic. He's obviously been at Aston Villa before. Dean Smith wants him back there, and he's going to use him as either a centre-back or even a right-back, it's saying here. It looks like it is going to be a loan move. There was some speculation that Tuanzebe could be going on a permanent deal, but another loan move on the cards. Hopefully he can get some game time, prove himself in the Premier League, because he's not had much Premier League game time, has he? He went to Aston Villa when they were in the Championship, did very well there, came back to Manchester United. A lot of us, myself included, expected him to play a bit of a big part in Manchester United over the next couple of seasons or next season or so. Didn't happen for him. Injuries and, just the odd game where he didn't quite do himself justice didn't help. He played really well, obviously, in Paris against Paris Saint-Germain, keeping the likes of Mbappe and Neymar quiet, and had a bit of a stinker against Istanbul. But I think injuries have been his main problem. He's a phenomenally talented defender, still only very young. If he can go to Aston Villa, have a good season in the Premier League, then who knows what can happen. Hopefully, he can come back here to Old Trafford and show that he's still got a future and play a big part here moving forward. So another story that's sort of doing the rounds everywhere. It's not Manchester United story, but it's worth mentioning because it's a big one, is the fact that Jack Grealish looks set today to complete his move to Manchester City. A bit disappointing for a lot of people at Manchester United who wanted him to come here. He was a target of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at one point. It looked like it may have been around the same time he went for Bruno Fernandes. There was also talk that maybe if Aston Villa had got relegated, United would have gone in for him then, but because they stayed up, it increased his valuation, and Villa wanted, they're going to get 100 million for him, which is something Manchester United were never going to be able to pay. The only sort of point now to look at is, does this make Manchester United go a bit bigger in the transfer window? We know we've already got Jadon Sancho and Rafael Varane. It's been a good window so far. We could do with another midfielder. I think most Manchester United fans that I've spoken to and have tweeted and comment on it agree with that one. So does this mean that is going to be pushed forward? Do United look at it and go, well, you look at Manchester City going out and get someone like Jack Grealish, still linked with Harry Kane. Does that mean Manchester United are going to go, right, maybe we need to up our game a little bit? I don't know. It's unlikely that forces you another club doing something, but this is such a big transfer for a club that already have just won the league and finished, obviously, above Manchester United. So maybe United look at it and go, if we are going to win the title, if we are going to have those title-winning aspirations, then we need to strengthen even more, because I think with Rafael Varane and Jadon Sancho we've obviously strengthened, but maybe Jack Grealish going to City means that Manchester United look to do a little bit more. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. We'll keep you updated on the Saul Niguez, the Ruben Neves and the Eduardo Camavinga. Those are the three main midfielders we have been linked with. We'll see what happens with them, if there is going to be any movement there. There was talk as well of Declan Rice at one point. That looks like it isn't going to happen. West Ham wanted around Jack Grealish money, around 100 million quid for Declan Rice, so can't see that one happening. But we have been linked with other midfielders, and that seems to be the one area left that Manchester United could do with strengthening, other than, of course, Kieran Trippier at right back, who is still a target, but Atletico Madrid digging their heels in a little bit with that one. If there are any updates with Trippier, with Camavinga, with Ruben Neves, with anyone else, we'll keep you posted. We are expecting Rafael Varane to come in today, complete his medical or complete his transfer deal. We'll wait and see when that happens, and when it does happen, we'll keep you posted as always. So make sure you are liking, sharing and subscribing to Stretford Paddock. Hit that notification bell so you do get a notification when we do go live. It is getting a little bit more windy here outside Old Trafford, so I'm going to get off. I've been Motty. This has been Stretford Paddock Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.